guilty! Hello again, people. You're all guilty. Why are you guilty? Because there's a presumption of guilt. No, you're presumed innocent until proven guilty, especially in criminal matters. Now, where are we with this whole guilty thing? There's a theme that's been developing, which I just want to highlight. I've just seen an amazing video about Mike Tyson, but we're coming to that. But in the vein of Count Dankula being found guilty for some sort of communication hate crime, something or other. And this kind of belief people get that they know that they're going to be found guilty. They somehow have a guilty conscience, oh no, somehow I've done wrong. I'm not sure how I've done wrong, but now I'm wrong and I'm going to be found guilty. The court won't listen to me. The people won't listen to me. They're making up their own interpretations of what I'm saying. In the case of Dankula, he made a joke. He put the context before the court, but the court didn't want to hear it, didn't want to listen to it, couldn't hear it, I would say. Couldn't hear it, wouldn't hear it, had no reason to hear it. Because you're not in the setting that a man would be judged. You're in a setting where a defendant is being judged in a legal court. So let's look at guilty, and let's have a little listen to what Dankula. Just look at his body language, his face, how he feels he's guilty, and in a certain aspect, there's an element of relief in his voice.
Well, it happened. It finally happened. I'm actually kind of happy that the trial actually finally ended. I was under the impression that it was just going to go on forever, but we got the guilty verdict that we all knew it was coming. We all knew that the guilty verdict was coming, and we already kind of knew that was sort of already decided before this even went to trial. But I'm just going to go over a few of the things that were said during the reading of the guilty verdict. One of the main things that stuck out to me was that it was claimed that I did, in fact, make this video for anti-Semitic reasons. And it was stated that I was intentionally trying to stir up religious hatred. Now, I know why I made the video. I know what opinions that I hold. And the reality of the situation is, I'm not an anti-Semite, and I made this video to piss off my girlfriend.
Ta-da! Yeah, so you can see, it doesn't matter what I say, doesn't matter what I do, I can't get my point across. I can't convince these people, and I know that I'm going to be guilty regardless of what I try to do. Whatever truth I try to speak, it's not going to be heard. Truth being the crucial word. How is truth determined in a courtroom setting? So, I'm going to move on to a lovely video of this young man. You may or may not know Mike Tyson, but Mike Tyson was sent to prison for, I don't know, I think it's a sexual assault or a rape, whatever. But let's draw on the comparisons here with Mike Tyson, and this is really interesting little video of Mike Tyson. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but I'd recommend if you find this on YouTube, just watch it. It's really interesting. Like the persona, if you like, of Mike Tyson being this knockout, one-punch killing machine in a ring, versus how he speaks, how he conducts himself. He's in prison interview here. That's the setting. He's in prison interview. He's being interviewed by the media, some sort of interviewer, and it's amazing how that these interviewers and people of the press are sent to people who are in public scrutiny, i.e. legal public scrutiny, and they send in these these wolves in sheep's clothing to your house to interview you. So yeah, people really like talking about themselves, but it's also a way of extracting information about you to make sure that there's no legal stone unturned, and I'll come to that in just a bit. But first of all, let's look at Mike Tyson's view on his trial and how he believed whether he was going to be found guilty or innocent.
There's no way I could have got it. How could I have got a fair shot? I knew I was innocent. I knew from court procedures and what was going on, but I knew when I was in that court and when I was going to get that verdict, I knew the verdict was going to be guilty because of the mentality of the court and the mentality of the prosecutor.
What did you think of the prosecutor?
The prosecutor, I thought he was a racist, weak, publicity-happy, little weak man. And I just felt it. But I was always nervous and worried because I knew that it was going to take me away from people that I loved. But I was just prepared for it.
You were prepared to give it up?
It was something, that couldn't be stopped.
When we come back, Mike...
My answer is because it's not here. You know what I mean? People, they always put that, you know what I mean? They put that like that's a boundaries on me. Well, cause will look at you and be ashamed. I'm my own man now. I'm me. I'm my own man.
Your finances. Are you comfortable with your finances, your money, the control you have over your money?
Just want to put that question in context. He's gone into a prison to ask Mike Tyson, who presumably somewhere along the line made a shed load of money being the heavyweight champion of the world. And they've sent in this interviewer under the guise of like a nice, cozy interview. You know, you're not a policeman, you're not a lawyer, but you're an interviewer. They send these people in to talk to you about very personal questions, and obviously these answers that you give to these people could be publicised, and in this case it has been. It's been put on TV in some sort of exclusive interview, and now it's on YouTube forever. So whatever Mike Tyson said at this particular point in time about whatever money he has or has not got will eventually come back to bite him in the arse, potentially. So anyway, here we are. Here's a man who's an interviewer asking you about, hey, where's your money? Did you bury any of your money? Did you put it in a treasure chest and bury it on a treasure island? And where's the location of this money? Perhaps we could go back to court and ask them to free up that money for the victim support or extra legal costs or something like that.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? About a situation like that, when I was in this situation, no one never, you know what I mean, approached me with something like that before when I was out in the streets, you know what I mean? Now this is only a ploy for somebody to attack Don or do something like that. You know what I mean? I'm very happy with my finance. Just because someone else may not know anything about my finance or might come up with a sheet and say, well, he has nothing. And then next week they'll come up with a sheet. What happened to this money? They don't show no account of what happened to this 45 million or this 20 million. And now all of a sudden I'm hiding money. And if I was hiding money, and if it's my money, I haven't stolen it, isn't it my business to do what I want with it?
Do you know what you have?
Well, I have a ballpark figure, yes.
And you know where it is, and you have control of it?
He's keep pressing, where's the money? Where have you hidden it? Where is the money? Where have you hidden it? And if you look at my criminal justice video, this kind of ties into free videos. So you've got the Dankula modern day kind of character assassination. There we go. And obviously Mike Tyson went through the same kind of from rags to riches back down to rags again, being in the state prison. And here is still pressing the question: are you safe with the money? Are you happy with the money you got? You got a right figure? Where is it? Is your promoter got it? Is it in a bank account in the Bahamas? Like that Navinda Singh Sara guy who was that flash cash trader. The American injunction froze everything around the world for his assets. Assets I use loosely in commas, speech marks. So they freeze his whole world. Anything in his name has been frozen. And then they post a £5 million bail bond saying, right, if you want to get out of prison, you've got to meet this £5 million bail bond because we know you've got 20, 30 million pounds buried away offshore. So if we freeze everything, you're going to have to go cup in hand to whatever authorities and start revealing the location of all these funds so that they could be sent back to the Boston, don't know what it was, stock market, whatever it was, in Navinda Singh Sara's case. But it's an interesting theme here. There's another thing I want to draw in as well, which is someone I was helping in England near Reigate, which was the farmer Bob Fiddler. Bob Fiddler was he was a famous guy who built a house behind a bunch of hail bales in secret, and then he obviously took the hail bales down, thinking that because the house has been up for so long, he can keep it. And that was like a 10-year worth of legal procedures against him, to which they eventually managed to get him. Or convince him to knock down his own house on the back of a legal court threat. Now, again, this guy's asking about the prosecutor. The prosecutor's a what? It's an actor. So how do you think the actor did? Oh, the actor. And Mike Tyson just says he thinks he's a racist, a little wee man. But that's the character the prosecutor maybe was acting like. Maybe the prosecutor was a karate expert in his spare time, but he just did a bit of prosecuting and he got a job to do Mike Tyson and bury him. Yeah, great. But Mike Tyson's view of him in his day-to-day actions in the courtroom was that he was a weaselly little man. He was a racist and a media chaser, like an attention seeker in some respects. But in relation to Robert Fiddler was a very honest, decent man who, but unfortunately had this kind of flaw in his personality where he would quite like to seek and tell and preach his plight to the people and particularly to the media. There's several clips of him being interviewed think he even went on like some sort of Loose Women equivalent daytime TV show where people, they get you in there on these shows. They get you to talk about your plight. I think one time when I actually went around his house to help him, he was talking about there was an interview he had with some sort of newspaper guy. I can't remember the newspaper specifically who was around his house at the day. But it's amazing that Robert Fiddler was giving all kinds of very, very private details. I mean, short of the bank account number and social security number, if you will, if you're American, short of giving them those details, he was spilling the beans to this journalist like you would not believe. And this is the same situation here. They send the journalist in just to see if they can pry any more information out of you. So imagine if Mike Tyson says, "Oh yeah, we hid a load of money. I hid 40 million in the Bahamas. It's all good, mate. It's all cushy." And then he's got this on camera, which he'll potentially come and bite him in the arse. This is how the hustle works.
Well, like I was saying, it's my business, and no one else should worry about how much money I have.
Exactly, it's my business. And what he didn't say is it's my property. No one else should worry about what's mine, what's my property, what I claim to be my money made from the fruits of my labour. Mike Tyson's put his neck on the line, punching people in the face, so he could have been punched down. He can be killed in some instances in boxing. So it's not as if it's no risk to him, and he's entertained many millions of people. They've paid him, and they've paid for the enjoyment of his performance, and he's been compensated. And why are you interested in where this guy's money is? And to be fair, I'm very impressed that the character that I believe Mike Tyson was didn't get more angry, didn't get more frustrated at some guy asking and poking his nose around about where all your money is hidden.
No one should worry about how much Donald Trump had. I never asked how much he had. I never asked how much the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds had.
You understand? He knows about the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, and Donald. He even mentioned Donald Trump back in whenever this video was taken, back in probably the 90s. Funny how things come around.
Magic Johnson, any athlete by that, nobody asks about that. Why all of a sudden they want to worry about me by putting me in a situation? Because the fact is, they can't take away, which I know, that I'm a great fighter. So they say, God, he's a great fighter. People admire him for that. But let's put him, he's a great fighter, but he's dumb and he's stupid. So, he's nobody to look up to. But because that's okay.
Yeah, he's a great fighter, but he's dumb and he's stupid. He can be easily manipulated. He can be what I like to look at it as, and this is in relation to the Paul case, who's the helicopter guy in America, who was recently calling out for help. And Paul was basically, he was a harmless enough chap, but he got himself into a bit of bother with the federal authorities. And they basically, it's almost as if they picked someone. Hey, let's pick Mike Tyson. He's got a shit ton of money. He's as thick as 2 planks of wood. Now let's go and throw a load of legal charges at him. Let's throw a whole load of legal accusations at him. Let's tell him he's got to pay this much money, this much fine, or else he's going to spend the rest of his life in jail, or something like that. These are very serious charges, sir. If you don't answer them or don't get legal representation for yourself to defend yourself, then guess what? It's an open table, and we'll start making up interesting numbers of compensation that we require in order to, essentially, it's like asset stripping. It's like, hey, let's charge this guy with something and see how far we can make it run. And the first thing that happens in all of these cases is, we recommend you seek independent legal advice. So yeah, Mike Tyson doesn't know anything about the law, but what does Mike Tyson have? He has money. So what's Mike Tyson going to do? He's going to run off and find the best lawyer of the very community that is bringing the charges against him. He's going to run off and find the best representative of that community to go and represent him in their own legal courts. That's the game. That's the hustle. That's the trick. Keep people stupid. They don't know how to defend themselves. They don't know the rules. They get sent to prison because they're in the wrong court, and then all you hear is the lamentation of noobs, which is what I already mentioned in my Dankula video. This is how the game works. I would ask, I'm going to end it here because it's just a short video, but I would ask that you watch my criminal justice video. There's a movie called Criminal Justice, and in the criminal justice movie, it's very close to reality in a lot of the points, and at the end it has all the statistics about, almost like 90% of all the criminal prosecutions are settled with summary judgment, plea bargaining. Yeah, right, I'll admit I'm guilty if you only give me 2 years instead of 5 years, that kind of thing. So it's like plea bargaining. So whether or not, and the whole point of a criminal justice movie is, regardless of whether you did it or not, regardless of if you're even there on the night of the crime taking place, whether you're the right person or the wrong person, it doesn't matter. They'll just throw the book at you, and the state prosecutors or the state attorneys that represent like people who have no money will come in and say, look, I don't know if you did it. I don't know if you did do it. But this is what we've got. This is a deal. I suggest you take it. It's all about summary judgments and plea bargaining, which is pretty much what that whole system is run on. It makes it very efficient, very very quick to churn the cases through the courthouse. But does it always get the right answer? Does it always get the right decision? Is justice always carried out? Well, the problem is, as soon as you start admitting guilt and plea bargaining, you're kind of admitting that you did do it, regardless of whether or not that is the truth of the matter. So they send in a nice friendly, like Oprah or Ellen, or I don't know who this guy is in this case, but and then maybe you might slip up and give them a bit more information that you may have hidden from the court. In which case, then they'll bring you straight back in, maybe for perjury charges, all kinds of stuff. They could come back to bite you in the ass. But here, Mike Tyson is very clever. He keeps his cards close to his chest. Cards close to his chest, and just says how much of a lovely time he's having in prison. No problems, no threats to my life. Everything here is lovely as lovely can be.